There are changes coming to the rewards track, and there's a new type of cards, the diamond cards. They are better than golden cards. Welcome to an episode of the Hearthstone Report. I'm your host JJ, and let's do this. So yeah, as I said, they are making some changes for the upcoming Forged in the Barrens rewards track relative to the previous one that we've had currently, and the changes arguably are good. Let me start with that. It is worth noting that the current Darkmoon Fair gameplay achievements that give reward track XP will stop giving that XP once a new expansion comes out, which I almost expected, but I'm still a bit disappointed by because that was not announced at the beginning, so now they're kind of just taking something away that we've already had. But Forged in the Barrens will of course come with new gameplay achievements that will take this place. Also, they did not mention anything about Duels achievements, which were also introduced with Medicine at Darkmoon Fair, so there will still be some achievements that give XP, likely unless they just kind of stealthily remove them as well, that are not directly related to the expansion, so not a big deal, but still worth acknowledging. The big change to the rewards track, you can already kind of see the Diamond Samuro here, we're going to talk about that in a second. We're also going to talk about the cards from the expansion once I'm done with the actual news. So yes, they have this whole list of things. It's a bit hard to keep track of everything, but the main point is that they have now split the first 50 levels into being 100 levels. Now, the total XP necessary, I believe, is the exact same or very close. They are effectively just making the distance halved. So it used to be 5,000 to get to the last couple levels, now it's 2,500. So effectively they're just spreading it out so that it feels like you get something more often. Practically, that doesn't make a significant difference for how much you're actually getting, except theoretically for a stopping point where if you don't go to level 100, what used to be 50, that you now might get one extra reward. But mainly this just means that you're getting more rewards more often, making it feel like you make more progress. That's more of a psychological thing where they're trying for you to have more enjoyment in the game, which, you know, they're doing it for marketing reasons, of course, because if you feel like you're getting more, even though you're getting the same amount, you're more likely to recommend the game and blah blah blah. But I still like it as just maybe you need a bit of gold to want to start an arena run or something early in the expansion, and now you're getting the gold a bit faster because you don't have to wait what effectively now would be 2 levels, rather you get it in 1 level, so it's not the worst thing in the world. As a matter of fact, it's strictly positive, I would argue. So yeah, they say here they have the amount of XP required for each level, and then they've adjusted the rewards. You're still getting the same amount of... That's a graphic. That I cannot hide that stuff. But you get the same amount of gold. You get 1 more card pack. You get 1 more tavern ticket. You get... well, okay. A lot more non-disenchantable cards, which is still not bad if you don't already have those cards. So, okay, Mankrik is... yeah, you got a free legend, you got a free legend last time. The one difference here is just that the free legend last time was one that someone else could have gotten a pack, and now you can't. The golden cards, there's 14 of them, are just golden versions of regular cards from the set that are not going to be regularly craftable, but just available through the rewards track. And they're also not pullable from packs, the golden versions at least. So, in as far as you maybe haven't pulled the regular versions yet, this is a bit useful, but in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't do much. It's mostly just a cosmetic thing. Same amount of legendary, same amount of epic, so I guess you do get 1 more legendary in grand total because of Mankrik. Though, as people have said, that's what used to be the launch things which you would get for free. Now they instead put them in here. Same thing can happen where like, oh, instead of giving you 3 legendary quests, we now give you, just something else in the first couple levels of the XP track. That doesn't mean much. You still got 1 hero skin, it still says choosable hero skin, so I assume it's the same selection as we had for Medicine at Darkmoon Fair. I mean, you can pick a second one of these, like, cool new skins for your classic heroes, most of which I think legitimately are cool, so there is that. You also get a card back, big deal. They talk about Year of the Phoenix packs, we know how those work, we've had those before. Now they talk about diamond cards. It's one of the things that they had in Phase 1. There was going to be a new thing, and it turns out it's just cosmetic, but at least they're nice. So I'm going to scroll down here a little bit so you can actually see the cards. So they're introducing a new tier of cards. akin to the golden cards, but even cooler. And specifically, they're only doing it so far for 2 cards. So you're not going to get a diamond version of every single card in the expansion, but you're going to just get it for like select legendaries, maybe some in the future non-legendaries, but just a few select cards. In this case, it's Blade Master Samuro and Brukan. These are not craftable, these are not dustable. You either have them or you don't. How do you get Blade Master Samuro? You get him by purchasing a Tavern Pass. So you have to spend money for it, which to me makes it immediately uninteresting. I mean, he looks cool, but I'm still not going to spend money. Brukan, on the other hand, is obtained by completing the Fortune Barrens Legendary Collector 5 out of 5 achievement, which means collecting all legendary cards from the expansion. Hard to do free-to-play, not impossible. And I like that, right? It's not something that everyone can get, but if you can get it, it's really cool. And especially if, when the expansion rolls around, they don't remove this reward like they did the XP rewards, but hopefully you will be able to earn Brukan even later, in case you decide to like craft a final legendary, or you get like a Year of the Griffin pack later on and pull one out of there. So it's very gettable. Again, it is just stylistic, but hey, I was about to say if you don't already have Brukan, at least that's a way to get him, but you need to already have a regular Brukan to get him. But I suppose at least you could dust the regular one if you feel like it, so that is something. And again, they look really cool. You can see the animation here. There's a bit of art kind of like going outside of the bounds of the page. I know fans have designed these sort of cards before, so it's nothing spectacularly inventive. I'm thinking there's the card styles in Magic the Gathering Arena, which are equally cool, sometimes even more cool, arguably. But you know, this is definitely something interesting, and I'm kind of hyped for it. They talk about the Tavern Pass again. Yes, you can buy the Tavern Pass. Big deal. New coins. So once again, one is earned through the rewards track. If you have purchased a Tavern Pass, as in you have to pay money for it. The other one is, once again, for collecting 135 cards from the set. That either means all of the cards, or not quite all of the cards if you include the mini set. So I have my Document Fair coin, the free one, because I purchased the mini set, and that completed enough of the collection for me to get that, so it's not that difficult as a free-to-play player to get those. They're also going to retroactively add one for Skullman's Academy, which makes me wonder if they're going to make more of those for other past sets in the future. Past sets in the future. You know what I mean? They have some pretty last questions. Can they be dusted? Blah, blah, blah. Gold cards on the reward track are not craftable. I mentioned that already. Will we be able to buy the next mini set with gold again? That is an interesting question. Yes, you will. So I guess that is worth noting. I mean, I generally don't recommend necessarily buying a lot of packs during the expansion anyway. So basically you buy packs once the expansion comes out, and then you save up all of your gold until next expansion. So you might as well... you will probably already have gold saved up for the mini expansion. I must say that with the rewards track, I actually end up getting more gold than I have in previous expansions. It might be that I just played more. I'm not going to say that it's definitively better than the old system, though I stylistically like it more, but I might talk about that more in the future. Keep an eye out on that. Subscribe to TrashcanTV too, because there just might be a podcast about it. I actually haven't fully scheduled it, so I can't guarantee that, but... so yeah. Gold should not be a huge issue, especially since you don't have to buy packs to get the extra one, so... that's very doable. Blah, blah, blah. Something about not getting Samuro in the pre-purchase. If you got the diamond version from buying the Tavern Pass, I do not care, but I am going to quickly talk about all of the cards that have been revealed for the Forged of the Barrens, Forged in the Barrens expansion so far, besides the ones I've already talked about. So we're going to start with Kazakus Golem Shaper. Battle Cry. If your deck has no 4-cost cards, he's a format 3-3. If your deck has no 4-cost cards, build a custom golem. So this is kind of Kazakus. Last time was no dupes when we had a Kazakus and he made potions. This time it's no 4-drops, kind of like the Princess. And he has a 1-drop golem, a 5-drop golem, and a 10-drop golem that gets some effects. The effects are not very dramatic, but it's just good to have a good minion for that. I don't think he's going to be extraordinary, but I could see some decks that don't necessarily want to run any 4-drops anyways. Especially maybe slower control decks, tech it in just because why not? But I don't think it's going to be a huge build around. Maybe I'm wrong, but it depends a bit on the options. 8 mana, 6/6 elemental is the Primordial Protector. Battle card, draw your highest cost spell, summon a random minion with the same cost. People have compared this to Spiteful Summoner, rightfully so, but in this case you get the highest cost spell in your deck. Meaning, You don't necessarily have to play a big spell deck like the big spell mage used to, for example, or the Spiteful Druid, but rather you just have to have some big spells in your deck. But you can have small spells as well, so it gives a lot more flexibility. It is a bit more expensive, so it's going to take a while until it gets going, but it also draws you a card, and a high impact one at that, so you get a reasonably large minion, a likely big minion, and you get to draw a good spell. So if you, for example, only run 2 copies of Pyroblast as the top spells, and then maybe 2 like 8 or 9 drop spells, if there are any right now, that as backup, then you know you're gonna have some impacts there. So it's very plannable, and I like it. Next up, we've got Cannon Master Smithy, 5-mana 4/4 Paladin Legendary Battlecries. If transform your secrets into 3/3 soldiers, they transform back when they die. So yeah, those become Northwatch soldiers, and they just have the death roll where they turn back into the secret. I don't know if they will display which secret they were, because in that case you're giving away a lot of information. But this could be the kind of thing that makes a secret deck a lot better, because all of a sudden you've got this big impact play. And Paladin secrets are cheap, which normally was a downside because it meant they were also kind of on the weaker side. But now, all of a sudden, you've got a lot of 1-mana 3/3s, kind of. So maybe decent if the archetype comes to be. Mordresh, Fire Eyes, a 10-mana 10/10 Mage Legendary with Battlecry. If you've dealt 10 damage with your hero part of this game, deal 10 damage to all enemies. That is all enemies. It goes face. It's a Pyroblast. It's also a better Flame Strike. This thing is really good in control decks. So you will generally have in control decks, you will use a hero power here and there, especially if you have something that boosts your hero power, and there is Caldera Drake is currently in the core set, as well as another hero power support. I don't remember which one right offhand, but there is support for this archetype. So, and control decks could, not necessarily by turn 10, but they could have reasonably done the 10 damage with the hero power just from pinging things here and there, using their open mana and such. I have played some amount of Genline in the past. I have Genline in my big spell mage, which the only support Dared has is Daring Fire Eaters, 2 of them. And sometimes I didn't draw a single Fire Eater and I still could play Genline. Now Genline doesn't quite need 10 damage, it's only 8, but close enough. Reckless Apprentice, speaking of hero power support, is a 4-mana 3/5 mage minion with Battlecry. Fire your hero power at all enemies. That means up to 7 damage being dealt, not assuming that it's not buffed. Right, I remember, the other card that's in there is the 2/1 that gives a hero power +1 damage. From Grand Tournament, I think? It's on the core set, so, by the way, core set looking amazing. Well, not amazing, but better than I expected. Well, about as good as I expected, to be honest. Less than I hoped, more than I expected a bit. Fortress, Ashfall, and Battlecry attack the left and rightmost enemy minions. Outcast immune this turn. Without Outcast, with the Outcast, pretty solid. It's more of a control tool, so it depends on how controlling Demon Hunter is trying to get, but then again, this is Demon Hunter like you've never seen it before, because we've only got the cards starting from Ashes of Outland. We don't have the Initiate set anymore, we don't have the basic cards, so this is going to be Demon Hunter in a way that you haven't seen before. Resident Beast Master is also a Demon Hunter card. It's a 3-mana 3/3 Death Rattle. Summon a Death Rattle minion that costs 4 or less from your hand. Death Rattle Demon Hunter. I don't expect this to be a thing, but maybe with enough support. Can of course self-recur, so if you have 2 of them, you have one in your hand, the other one dies, another one comes out. It's a good card if there's enough support for the archetype, also if the archetype it doesn't make sense. 5-mana 4/4 Morshan Elite, a warrior card. A warrior minion, taunt, Battlecry. If your hero attacked this turn, summon a copy of this. 2 4/4 taunts are really good for 5 mana. 1 4/4 taunt for 5 mana is bad. So, in other words, it depends on if you can pull this off. If this was Demon Hunter, it would be insane as a control tool. In Warrior, you need a weapon for this, most likely, so less good, but still very doable. Sigil of Flames is a 2-mana Fel spell for Demon Hunter, that rhymed. At the start of your next turn, deal 3 damage to all minions. I don't know about this. At the start of your next turn effects, it's kind of like Corruption. It's very slow. And there is probably times when it's really good, and not to mention that, in this case, the minion doesn't have to be on the battlefield yet, right? So, you can just wait. You could just play this to prevent your opponent from playing minions effectively, kind of like Doomsayer. So maybe good. Also possibly some synergies with it. I don't think Demon is going to have Felspell synergy, but maybe some like excess damage or something like that. Barak Kodo Bane is a 5-mana 3/5 Hunter Legendary with Battle Cry 1, 2, and 3 cost spells. Now, Arcane Shot is a very good card as a skill command, and there's a lot of secrets in Hunter, so you could build a deck in which this is good, theoretically. Whether the deck as a whole is going to be good is going to depend, and if it's not worth it. You're not going to just randomly include this in the Hunter deck, so But drawing 3 cards, especially in Hunter, is definitely a good effect. Light Shower Elemental is a 6-mana 6/6 Elemental with Taunt, Death Rattle, restore 8 health to all friendly characters. It's probably not going to matter that it's an Elemental, but it's a 6-mana 6/6 Taunt, which is not that bad. It has a good upside. It says all friendly characters, so it does heal face, so at the very least it's going to heal our face. If there's a Control Priest archetype, this is probably going to be in it. I could see that very well be in there at least. Horde Operative is a 3-mana 3/4 neutral minion with Battlecry. Copy your opponent's secrets and put them into play. Not only does this give you all the secrets that your opponent has, which could be some amount of value, not quite the same as a Flare or a Secret Eater, but another way of profiting from your opponent having secrets, so Secret Tech. And also it tells you what your opponent's secrets are. Now your opponent doesn't know what your secrets are, but that allows you to play around them more effectively. Again, same thing goes for your opponent, but it's a 3-mana 3/4, so tech cards that are not understated are generally good if the thing they're teching against is somewhat prevalent, and since they are building a Secret Paladin archetype, and again, Hunter always has some secrets, Mage can always have secrets, so I could see this being relevant. Also, Rook has been playing a lot of secrets lately. Condemn is one of those ranked spells, and its basic level to 2 mana, well, there's always 2 mana, and its base level deals 1 damage to all enemy minions, at 5 mana it deals 2, and when you have 10 mana it deals 3, kind of like your Mega cards back in the day. We talked about ranked spells in the last card review. It's a holy spell. I don't know if I mentioned that. It doesn't really matter all that much. I mean, it's Arcane Explosion, which is fine. And then it's better Arcane Explosion, and even better Arcane Explosion, so this is probably pretty decent as a control tool. I can't really see this being that effective in a space form. In a lot of situations, there's going to be some way you're going to play it, but I think, starting with the second level, because a lot of minions have 2 health, this is going to be very useful, especially again in a control priest. Speaking of ranked spells, we have Tame Beast, summon a 2/2 beast with Rush for Hunter for 2 mana, and the second version is a 4/4, the third version is a 6/6, and then you have, you know, the different beasts there. 2 mana 2/2 with Rush for 2 is fine. 2 mana 4/4 with Rush is great. 2 mana 6/6 with Rush is excellent. This is also one of those spells that could be drawn with the other legendary. I don't hate it. Yoink! 1 mana rogue spell, discover a hero power and set its cost to 0, swap back after 2 uses. These are specifically the basic hero powers. It doesn't say that, but the 10 different basic hero powers from all the classes. Significantly less effective if you pick Demon Hunter because it's already 1 mana hero power. Note it says after 2 uses, not after 2 turns. So you could spread it out if you need it for some reason. Anything that triggers off a hero power activating, you used to call Inspire, but though there are no rogue cards that do that right offhand. Anyways, there's some Hunter cards that do. Could be triggered by that, but otherwise, it's just a lot of value, right? You can use the Warlock power to draw, or if you're playing aggressively or your opponent is at low health, Hunter would be useful. Now, it is a Discover, so you can only see 3 of the powers that you could pick from. I assume it's not going to offer you the Rogue Hero power, so it's a 1 in 3 kind of if you get whichever one you want, but if you want Hunter and you get Mage, it's not the worst thing. Nothing can stop us. 3 mana Shaman spell, give your minions +1/+1, give your Murlocs an extra +1/+1. Power of the Wild only costs 2, but if you played in the Murloc deck, this is actually good. That being said, they're trying to push Murloc Shaman and I don't see it. If you actually look at the core set, there is not a single Shaman Murloc and there's like 3 neutral Murlocs. There's no War Leaders. There is no Cold Light Seer, the one that buffs health. There is no Grimscale Oracle, so there is no passive attack buffs and there is no health buffs. The best buff in Murlocs right now is Felfin Navigator. And in the core set, you have Tiny Fin, you have Tidecaller, and I think you have the Hunter, So again, there's just not a lot of Murlocs right now in the core set, which is what is going to make this the Murloc Shaman archetype that Team 5 seems to be pushing towards us be far worse than it seems, because we're missing all of the key Murlocs in the core set. Oil Rig Ambusher is a 4-mana 4/4 rogue minion with Battlecry, deal 2 damage. If this entered your hand this turn, deal 4 instead. It says entered your hand rather than drawn, because it could also get there through other means, which is worth noting, including being Shadow Stabbed. 4-mana 4/4 deal 2 is okay. I mean, we've seen Cobalt Deck being relatively good, as well as the Transfer Student that deals 2 damage on the Orgrimmar board. The higher you scale these sort of effects with like an X mana XX deal 2, the worse it gets. Deal 4 is pretty good, it's Evis, and so I can definitely see this seeing some amount of play, especially again Shadow Stepping it. If you Shadow Step it twice, you're paying 8 mana to deal, if you've drawn it that turn, 12 damage, otherwise 10, which is a lot of damage. Granted, it's a lot of cards as well. But I could see this being solid. You can use it on a minion if you need to control the board, or you can use it on face if you want to be aggressively. Rogues traditionally are very aggressive, but that doesn't mean you don't like the flexibility. Kolkar Pack Runner is a 2-mana 2/3 Hunter minion. After you cast a spell, summon a 1/1 Hyena with Rush. It's a bit weird that they are hyenas, because hyenas traditionally are 2/2s, and 1/1 Rushes are generally locusts, but I get that it's for the theming. Spell Hunter I suppose is the idea here. We've seen the legendary that draws you spells. We see this. We see that one of the spells summons Rush minions. We see this is Rush minion. I don't think there's a lot of Rush synergy right now, outside of Warrior. But oh no, actually there is the side quest. But I think the side quest is rotating, so it's not going to be in standard. But hey, in wild, I suppose. I mean, again, this has vanilla stats. It has an upside. If you build a deck that can make use of this effect, it could potentially be very good. Living Seed is a 2-mana druid spell. It's one of the ranked spells. It draws a beast, reduces cost by 1, and then the second rank reduces the cost by 2, and third by 3. At the point we have 10 mana, if you spend 2 mana to draw a beast, it doesn't really matter if it's reduced by 3, probably as much. But this is still somewhat solid. If there is a beast-centric druid archetype, now we've seen already, they've had one bigger beast in the first card set I reviewed. There is some beasts, including Enchanter Raven, in the core set, so there is some idea here maybe, but this specifically draws beasts, so where a lot of other past druid beast synergy was at least focused on the board, where you could have one of your like druid of the choose one turn this beast or that beast effects also be affected. This is a bit more narrow. I could see this be good again if the archetype comes around. Flurry is a 0-mana ranked spell for Mage. Freeze a random enemy minion, and then of course it freezes 2 or 3 random enemy minions. Freezing minions is good, especially to delay them, especially if it's for free. So this goes in any given control-oriented mage deck, probably. Also anything that has like frost synergy stuff, and of course, if there's this deck that wants to cast a lot of spells, having a 0-mana spell could be really useful. Mark of the Spike Shell is a nature spell for Druid. It gives a minion +2/+2. If it has Taunt, add a copy of it to your hand. Value, synergy with Taunt specifically. This is obviously more control-oriented card, but 2-mana give a minion +2/+2 is okay, but probably would not see play without the upside. That being said, it could be really good. Bonus points if your top minion has a battle cry. Feast of Anshi. Flavor text is funny. It's a 5-mana 5/5 taunt battlecry if you have restored health this turn, gain +3/+3. 5-mana 5/5 taunt. 5-mana 8/8 taunt. Pretty good. How do you restore health as a priest? I don't think I have to explain this to you. It's very good. Again, in the control deck. It seems like they very much go on control priest here. Bloodshard Bristleback. 3-mana 3/3. Warlock minion with lifesteal, which is always good, especially since we currently have if your life will change this turn in Warlock as a mechanic. If your deck contains 10, Battlecry, if your deck contains 10 or fewer cards, deal 6 damage to a minion. To a minion is a bit narrow, but I suppose, again, lifesteal, dealing damage to a minion, goes for a control deck. 10 cards or fewer means you either drew very aggressively or you're in the late game. The latter, at the very least, also hinting at a control deck maybe. In aggro, this could be solid if you have like a zoo deck and you draw really fast, like with the discarding hand of cooldowns of shenanigans, where you could then use this to clear out a taunt, maybe. And again, because you're tapping a lot, you might want a lifesteal just to stabilize that a little bit. Soul Rend is a 4-mana shadow spell for Warlock. Deal 5 damage to all minions, destroy a card in your deck for each killed. Ooh boy. This goes with the previous one. Sacrificing cards in your deck is relatively new. I mean, Tickus did it as well, so that actually goes in that deck as well, if you want to have a destroying my own deck. 5 damage is enough to clear a lot of things. Not everything, but a lot of things. You obviously don't want to have minions on the board, because then you kill your own minions and discard more cards. Reminds me of Doompact a little bit. As a matter of fact, it reminds me a lot of Doompact. Could be good in a control deck, we'll see. Thampson, Rom... Whenever you cast a shadow spell that costs 1 or more, add a copy to your hand that costs 0. Any shadow spells can be cast twice, basically, without extra mana. 3 mana 1/3 is not a great stat line, and you probably want to play this alongside at least one shadow spell, because you don't want to waste the effect. That being said, the copy costs 0. It's not 0 this turn. It's not added it's not adding it temporarily. It's adding it permanently. So you don't need to play the copy immediately, which makes you very flexible. And there's some decent shadow spells. I think Falbrook maybe been a bit better, but we'll see. Grimoire of Sacrifice, speaking of shadow spells, is a shadow spell for Warlock. Destroy a friendly minion, deal 2 damage to all enemy minions. Reminds me a bit of Unstable Fellbolt. It reminds me also a little bit of some other things like, what is the 4-mana one that attacks a minion and deals its attack damage? That one. This is solid against aggro. If you have a small minion to sack. So you're playing control but you have small minions? I'm not saying it doesn't happen. This will be something that would maybe be good in like a Galakrond Warlock. Except, in Standard there's no such thing as Galakrond. So, Veteran Warmatic. 4-mana 3/5. After you cast a holy spell, summon a 2/2 medic with lifesteal. A lot of paladin spells are holy spells, especially the buff spells. Healing as well, but let's face it, we're here for the buffs. This does not go into secrets probably, because I don't think the secrets have any tags. Would also be a bit weird. After you cast a holy spell, summon a 2/2 medic with lifesteal. It means that you can get a lot of lifesteal minions, and you're already earning a lot of buffs, so you can either grow this to give it more sustainability, or the lifesteal minions to heal even more. Overall, I consider this very good. If you want to build a deck with healing synergies, then both the medics it summons as well as the healing spells would be holy spells, so there's some synergy there. Though healing decks are a bit dubious on Hearthstone because you have maximum health total. Invigorating Sermon is a 4-mana holy spell, speaking of. Give +1/+1 to all minions on your hand, deck, and battlefield. Mist Caller? I don't think that did both. So yeah, we've seen with Kel'Seth, where we had an entire deck building section around it, where it was worthwhile to buff minions in your deck for certain archetypes, and battlefield makes it more immediate. Again, 2 mana for Power of the Wild, 1 mana for something like Wicked Whispers, or Mark of the Lotus, actually. Hand buffing, not as dramatic, but it's nice to not have to wait to draw the cards, unlike Kel'Seth. So this seems very solid. The question is if 4 mana is going to be too much, because Mistcall was too expensive, Kel'Seth was fine. I could see this C-play. Cariel Roim? The sister of the Warlock, undead one. 4 mana 4/3, Rush, Divine Shield. Whenever this attacks, reduce the cost of holy spells in your hand by 1. Well, that makes the previous card a lot more playable. If it costs 3, 4 mana 4/3 Rush with Divine Shield is okay. If you discount some spells with it, really good. Whenever this attacks, so depends on how long it's gonna live. But hey, you're gonna get 1 attack, it has Rush. She has Rush, you know what I mean. Tavish Stormpike. 3 mana 2/5. Hunter, legendary. After friendly beast attacks, summon a beast from your deck that costs 1 less. Not so good with the previous hyenas, because there is no such thing as a Snowflake Penguin. It does not say something to copy, so I assume it removes from your deck. This could be good if you build a Beast Hunter kind of mid... Okay. Now that the Highlander cards are gone, Midrange Hunter is probably going to make a comeback. This feels like something that could be in a Midrange Hunter deck potentially. But, as I always say, we have to wait and see. That was not the next button. That's the next button. Varden Dawn Grasp. Battlecry freeze all enemy minions if any are already frozen, you'll for damage to them instead. This has a nice thing where it both works against frozen minions as well as non-frozen minions, giving you a bit of versatility. Frost Nova costs 3 mana. This costs 4, it has a 3/3 body. Flame Strikes costs 7 mana. This and Frost Nova cost 7 mana. I think this is solid as a control tool. Pyromancer Flurgle. 2 mana, 2/3 Murloc for Shaman. After you play Murloc, deal 1 damage to all enemies. All enemies means it goes face. Murlocs are aggressive. Inadvertently clearing the board is nice. You have Tiny Fins, which are free. But again, we don't have a lot of Murlocs right now. We'll have to wait and see if there is enough Murlocs to make this work. If there is enough Murlocs to make a Murloc Shaman work, Murloc Shaman looks very promising. That being said, no board leaders, so probably less promising than you think. We literally just have to wait and see. Warsong Envoy. 1 mana, 1/3 Frenzy Gain plus 1 attack for each damaged character. Do we have any range in standard? I don't think we do. Otherwise, this could possibly go very big. Worst case scenario, it gains plus 1 attack. 1 mana 1/3s are traditionally very solid, at least in aggressive decks. This can get bigger. It's good. Paralytic Poison is a 1 mana nature spell, for some reason, for Rogue. Give your weapon plus 1 attack and your hero is immune while attacking. Now, nature spells matter as much, but Rogue steals cards, so maybe there's going to be some synergy inadvertently. 1 attack to your weapon for 1 mana isn't as good as 2 from Deadly Poison. However, if you want to use this to trade into minions, you could save a lot of HP. Traditionally, rogues are too aggressive to care that much about their HP, but this could be good. Or at least decent. Guff Rune Totem? Guff? I don't know. 3 mana, 2/4 after you cast a nature spell, give another friendly minion +2/+2. Notably, it says another, so you have to have another minion on the board for this to work. Otherwise, solid if you play enough nature spells. I think some of the buff spells are nature spells, so maybe in a token deck? Sigil of Silence is a 0 mana shadow spell for Demon Hunter. At the start of your next turn, silence all enemy minions. Yikes. I don't see it right now. Maybe if you are playing of lethal and taunts are prevalent enough that you might want to just be like, okay, I want to make sure that there's no taunts in the way, but otherwise I don't see it. Razer Main, Battle Guard. 2 mana, 2/3, your first taunt minion you play each turn costs 2 less. Kind of like the studies, you can play this alongside a taunt minion, except you don't get Discover one, but you can just play this alongside a taunt minion without any additional cost. And then possibly profit from it later, but it's relatively low health, it's probably gonna die, you want to use the effect immediately. 2 mana, 2/3s are solid though. In a pinch you can just play this on turn 2. If it doesn't stick, it's you know, not a big deal. Plague Maw the Rotting, that makes more sense. After a friendly minion with taunt dies, summon a new copy of it without taunt. This is to prevent, of course, infinite recurrence, especially if you have a rush taunt or a charge taunt. To just infinitely resummon them. And makes them less defensive. Possibly good. I don't quite see the taunt druid coming together yet, but it could be something, I suppose. Vengeful Spirit is a 4 mana 4/4 Demon Hunter minion with Outcast, draw 2 Death Rattle minions. Again, Death Rattle Demon Hunter, This could work outside of a Death Rattle Demon Hunter, though. And there is some decent Death Rattle minions in Demon Hunter that you might want to have without the archetype, so maybe as a package rather than a full archetype. Barrens Blacksmith is a 5 mana 3/5 minion with Frenzy, give your other minions +2/+2. People seem very skeptical of this card. I have to think of Fungalmancer, which was really good. This is better than Fungalmancer, except that it needs activation, but it could be an entire board red buff. This could go into possibly a token druid, or is it too expensive to go into a Zoo Warlock? Maybe, we'll have to see. There's definitely some ideas here, I think. Death Speaker Blackthorn is a 7 mana 3/6 spellcry, summon 3 Death Rattle minions that cost 5 less from your deck. Death Rattle Demon Hunter. I have to actually see the death row minions that are worthwhile. There's not a lot of death row minions in Demon Hunter. Now there is some neutral ones. So, maybe? But remains to be seen. Morshan Watch Balls can't attack after your opponent plays a minion 7-2-2 Grunt. So 3 mana 3/5, so it's hard to kill, but since it can't attack, it doesn't matter. If there's gonna be something like Silence Priest, then this could be solid, but not... I don't think you play Silence Priest to get like 1 more health than another version would get. Otherwise, the passive effect is okay, but it also takes up a spot on the board, so I don't really see it. Crossroads Watch Pulse, however, can't attack whenever your opponent casts a spell, give him +1/+1. Seems a bit better. There was a... I mean, it's somewhere between Competitive Spirit and that other secret, except that this is repeatable. I could see this being semi-relevant, maybe, but it remains to be seen. Rokara, Rush after friendly minion attacks and survives, give it +1/+1 is a 3 mana 2/3. A friendly minion includes herself, so she's likely effectively like a 3/4 with some damage on it after he's attacked. Also, it says any minion, so if you already have a board, this could be pretty big. Also, it says attacks and survives. It does not mean attacks an enemy minion and survives, so it could just go face. Not her herself with Rush, but your established minion, so arguably, again, in that sort of like Mark of the Lotus range, so it's not bad. Zarella is a 4 mana 4/4 legendary priest minion. Battlecry, if you've restored health this turn, deal that much damage to all enemy minions. This is a board clear. There's a lot of cheap ways to heal yourself. Also, restored health this turn doesn't mean to your hero, so if something like Holy Nova, not that you would probably play those together, but you see the idea. Could be really good. Again, control priest. Kargal Battlescar is a 7 mana 5/5 Battlecry summon, a 5/5 look out for each watch post you summoned this game. So yeah, the Morshan and Crossroads watch posts, we talked about those. The lookouts are just random 5/5s. I suppose this might make this worthwhile, but again, 3 cards for an archetype doesn't seem quite like enough and accidentally clicked out of it. So let's scroll up to where we were. Let's see how much we've still got. We're almost done here. Conviction rank 1, 1 mana holy spell for Paladin. Give a random friendly minion +2 attack. Makes it Blessing of Might, except non-targetable, which makes it slightly worse. But alas, if you have 5 mana, it gives it to 2 minions, and if you have 3 mana, if you have 10 mana, 2/3. At which point it's pretty good. It's also a holy spell, which Paladins like right now, so hey. Overlord Sourfang, 7 mana 5/4 Battlecry, resurrect 2 friendly frenzy minions. Deal 1 damage to all other minions. I think this means, since it's a separate line, deal 1 damage to all other minions, as in beside himself, meaning it would trigger both frenzies. And again, some of those like other damage minions, Warrior generally likes damaging minions. If you have a deck that runs a lot of frenzy minions in Warrior, this could be good. But a 7 mana 5/4, you definitely have to get the value out of it. Scabs Cutter Butter. 4 mana 3/3 Rogue Legendary combo. The next 2 cards you play this turn cost 3 less. It's a combo enabler. There's already a lot of combo shenanigans going on with Rogue. This could be good. And last, but certainly not least, Swine, Tusk, Shank. What a name. A 3 mana 2/2 weapon for Rogue. After you play a poison, gain +1 durability. I assume this refers to stuff like Deadly Poison, or Leeching Poison, or the other one we just looked at, so... yeah. It gains durability whenever you buff its attack, or other aspects of it, so... effectively. Not every attack buff, but... it could be good. As a matter of fact, it will probably be good if there's an aggressive rogue deck that is very weapon-centric. Has to be weapon-centric, though. So yeah, that's all the cards, that's all the news, my voice is giving out. So like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribe to the second channel for other content as well, and that's it.